Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. I'm so glad you could join me today. This is a video on a card that I'm doing from Eden's Garden that is the blog hop for my team, Ingenuity Inkers, for November. We've been doing blog hops this year every other month. And so this is the last one for this year, November, and the challenge was just to create Christmas cards. So if you check out the rest of my team's blog and my blog hop from my blog, which is www.ingenuityinkers.com, you will get some links to the team members that are participating in the blog hop this month, and maybe get some ideas for some Christmas cards. My team is very talented and I fully expect that they're all going to be fabulous. I haven't seen them all yet myself, but I'm confident that they're going to be spectacular. So this is for my November blog hop and marks the return to Tuesday videos for me. Thanks again so much for all of your support. Let's just get started. Okay, here is my card, and I promise I will stop messing with this suite when this video is over. So I've got a Christmas card here, and it's using the Eden's Garden, little bits and pieces from the dies there. My Merry Christmas comes from Perfectly Plaid, which is just a lovely Merry Christmas, and it's done in cherry cobbler. And there's my Merry Christmas right here. And the inside of the card says, "May you enjoy the peace of this beautiful season." And that one comes from a different stamp set. Let's see if I can tell you which one. Not right off the top. So I will put that in my video telling you where this one comes from. But I'm really pleased with the design, and I'm using some of the leaves from the Blackberry Bliss suite and some of the gems from the Eden Gems, using these with the cherry cobbler on it. And this ribbon is cherry cobbler and gold, and it is called Metallic Ribbon. In the catalog it's listed as cherry cobbler and gold metallic ribbon, and it's really pretty, and I thought it went particularly well with this. All right, what do we need to make this card? It's actually quite a simple card. I have a thick basic white base that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. I have 2 pieces of the Evening Evergreen Shimmer Vellum, 4 by 5 1/4. I have 2 pieces of basic white regular cardstock that is cut 3 3/4 by 5. Then you need a piece of this from the Eden's Garden Designer Series paper, and I think you need a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4 in order to cut this this wreath that is using these 2 dies from that die set. This one, which cuts this larger wreath, and this one out of a piece of scrap of cherry cobbler to cut these berries, which I'm using in a couple of spaces here on my card. And that's what it takes to do this card. Now, let's start putting this together. To save a little time, I always do my die cutting ahead of time. And so on this one, we are ready to start by placing our shimmer vellum on the card, and we'll get the seal put down on the shimmer vellum. It's reluctant today. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more up in this corner because it didn't get a bunch. Okay, now we can take this piece and set it centered on the front of our card with a similar margin all the way around. Then we're ready immediately to put one, oops, I've got too many of those, to put our basic white piece also set on the front of that card. And we're going to center that so we just get that rim of that pretty shiny stuff around the edge. And for those of you that want to cut down on the use of materials, you can cut something else pretty good sized out of the center of that, or use another die to cut out a big rectangle so you have a real usable piece that you can do, because really all we need is this edge, both on the inside and the outside. Now on the, I'm not going to put this on, well, I can put this piece on here to do here, but I need to put some ribbon on that inside piece. So this piece can go right centered on my piece of shimmer vellum. Okay, so we have the front of the card and the inside ready to go. Now then, on this piece, what I'm going to do is just tack this piece down, not really glue it down completely, because I just need to know where to do my stamping. So I'm going to set that in place here, and then I'll remove it and really glue it down in a minute. Meanwhile, I've got my Merry Christmas from Perfectly Plaid ready to go, and my cherry cobbler ink, and I'm going to ink this up thoroughly here. And this is photopolymer, so I need a cushion underneath this. I'm going to grab a cushion and lay this card out like this and get that ready to go, and then center my Merry Christmas as close as I can to the center of where that garland goes around there. Give that a second to let that get on there, and there's my Merry Christmas, nice and crisp. Now I can just, you just want to be very careful because this is delicate. You wouldn't want this to pull apart or tear, although it would be pretty easy to fix. All right, now I'm going to put that on my silicone mat here, and I'm going to add the glue so I can really put that in place. When putting the glue on like this, you see how these leaves are kind of going this way and these leaves are kind of going this way? If you go in the direction that the leaves are going, you don't pull up or tear your leaves. And so these would go this way until they got to the center, and then I would turn around and do the glue in the direction of the leaves here. And it changes in the middle, going both directions on all four sides, and that makes it a little easier to make sure you catch all of the little spots. Okay, so now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to place that on my card front, centered, and I am fine if some of these leaves want to go kind of off the edge. I'm pretty happy with that at the top. There we go. All right. So what I did was I started at the top and worked my way around, and it's not perfectly centered, but I think it works. Okay, so next, since I've got all of that in, I need to put a bunch of these berries right along in this corner. And I think this corner here will do nicely. So I'm going to just sniff off berries where it makes some sense, and then come around here in the corner and snip off some there. And then bring back my silicone mat and put some glue on the back of these berries. And that same thing applies. The berries seem to be going that way on this side and kind of this way on this side, so that's how I'm going to apply my glue. Now I want the berries to go in this corner, and I want them to mimic this line, and so there I've got my berries in this corner. I'm happy with that. All right, now on these leaves, where did they go? I'm using glue dots on the leaves, these little gold leaves from the Blackberry Beauty set. And what I'm doing is I'm using some glue dots here on the back of these leaves. And then I have to get my bow ready. Now, once I put my glue dots, I can put that right on my silicone mat, and those won't go anywhere. And let's see, where are my other leaves? I have a small one here that I'm putting I'm going to fold one of the glue dots over on itself here to get a smaller one for the back of this leaf. That's all ready to go. And then I need one more large leaf, and I'm going to grab one from here and put a glue dot on the back of that one as well. There we go. Now those glue dots are all ready to go on my card. Next, I'm going to take my ribbon and make a bow for my corner. And that bow got put on a little straight. I think I'd like it better if it was at a bit of an angle. So the way I make my bows is a pretty good size loop. I leave my ribbon attached to the roll. It allows you to have very little waste that way. Pinched in the middle, around the back, fold and tuck and come under the center, and grab and pull from this side. And there we've got a bow started. And that way I can pull my tails down pretty far and then really get this center knot pretty tight. And you can always pull the ends down to make your loops a little bit smaller. And you keep tightening and pulling until you're happy with the size of your bow. There we go. And I always pull my tails down towards the bottom in both cases. That still seems, well, maybe it's not too big. I want to make it down, but I want this knot a little bit tighter. So I'm going to pull those down and really pull that knot tight. Now that makes my loops a little too big, so again, I'll pull those down a hair and till I get my bow the size that I want it. I think that is going to work. So there I've got my bow, and then I'm going to take my ribbon scissors and cut just straight across that way and straight across this way, and there I've got my bow all ready to go in my corner, and see, it will fit nicely there. And that's all the waste I had. So what I'm going to do is take another glue dot here and put it on the back of my bow. By the way, there's a video in my group of videos that shows tying all different kinds of bows, and where I focus and really concentrate on just tying bows. So if you're curious about that, you can go check that out. All right, I'm going to take another glue dot and tuck it under here so I catch the loop and the tail. And then I'm going to do that same thing on this side where I put another glue dot down to catch the loop and the tail. Now, I know that that bow isn't going anywhere, and it looks like it wants to separate here. I'm going to just snip that edge off. There we go. All right, so there we go. Now then, I've got my leaves all ready to go, and I'm going to slide one underneath my bow on that side, the larger one, and one, I want that to go a little bit that way, and one to go underneath my bow on this side. And then I'm going to take this little one and kind of put it underneath one of the leaves so that my leaves project further out. Now then, I've got this little piece of berries, and I think I like the shape of this one because the berries kind of go away from a corner, and so I'm going to snip that piece off, put a little bit of glue on it, try to get some of that glue out of the webbing, and then tuck this little bit of berries underneath here. And there we've got my berries on both sides of the front, and my front of my card is nearly done. All right, so let's now work on the back. And it looks like I got a little, I took a minute and wiped off my fingers because it looks like I've got a little smudge of cherry cobbler. Working in these dark colors is frightening because it's so easy to get smears. I'm using my sand eraser here to just get rid of that smudge. And there we go. All right, now I'm going to take another piece of this ribbon and put it along one edge, and it looks like to tuck under that's probably plenty. And this piece is almost 6 inches long. And I'm going to take my glue and put it all along that ribbon because I'd like it to stay put once I put it down, as well as anchor on the back. So I'm going to set this right here. That gives me a little margin on that side, and push that down on the card, letting that glue kind of grip that. And then I'm going to add a little bit more glue on the back and anchor these ribbon ends here on the back of the card. And there we go. I've got my inside just about done. Now, I do have this other stamp, and it says, "May you enjoy the peace of this beautiful season." And I thought we would put that in here on an angle in cherry cobbler. And again, I'll get the name of the stamp set and make sure that that is on the screen for you to see. But we're going to ink this up really, really good. And we're going to stamp that down right here in this corner. And that way we don't have to worry about straight. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? May you enjoy the peace of this beautiful season. All right. And I keep getting more ink on my hands, so I keep having to wipe off so I don't get it on my card. All right. So I'm going to move some of these things out of the way now that we're done with them. And this piece is ready to go on the inside of my card. So I'm going to, well, I guess I do need that. I'm going to go ahead and add my seal to the back of my card. And add that to the inside of my card. Trying to get this centered on here. I just think this design is so pretty, and I love the white plain background on this. It just shows off all the elements so nicely. So there we go. Now we've got this all done. Clean off my surface here so there's no ink possible to get on anything. When working with dark colors, like I said, it's kind of terrifying sometimes. You get ink everywhere. So there we go. Now embellishments. And I have these beautiful garden gems from the Eden's Garden set. And I'm going to dot a few of those around on my card. And I think I put 5 of them on. And these gems, I'll bring this up so you can see it. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. Is got the Evening Evergreen around the edge, and then it's got cherry cobbler on the inside. So I'm going to stick one right down here. And they come in 2 sizes, smaller and larger. And I'm going to put one right here next to my Merry Christmas. Then I'm going to tuck one maybe right in here. And I'm just going to go ahead, although it's very predictable to put them on the corners. I think in this case it's just fine. And so there I've got 5 of them on there, and that completes my design. And I just love it. I think this is one that I can repeat a bunch of times. And you don't have to use the shimmer vellum. You could use a piece of Evening Evergreen around the edge here on this one to make it perhaps a bit more affordable to do bunches of them. But isn't that just the prettiest card? I'm really pleased with the way that came out. And that is my project. So thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel and my blog. And please use this opportunity to check out all of the beautiful work done by my team on this month's blog hop. Thanks again, and I know I keep saying it, and it is truly heartfelt. I can't begin to thank you enough for the wonderful support that you all have given me. It is palpable. I feel it, and it does help. Thanks again so much. Love you all. Bye.